Hey there, this is my character for VRChat. And usually when you use the VRChat creator companion that you can just download and then open a new project and then open a Unity package, then you usually see something like that in your project folder, and maybe you have something like some scenes. You can just search for scene. And then you have here, for example, these symbols here are scenes. Here is the folder scenes, Rexoium, for example, here. And when you double click something like that, then this here opens up there. This is a scene and it contains multiple packages. And you just need to click one package. And up here, you can enable a package. And then you just choose which you want to use. And I just want to show you some very basic things that you should know. For example, this here is the inspector, and that contains everything that is kind of the property of what you have selected here in the hierarchy. When you have a project via VRC Creator Companion here, then you also can have this here. Autofix. Always autofix everything that you see here, and then it works automatically. You see, you can give your character a name, a description. You can click content warnings if you have something cheeky on your avatar. Usually it's on private. If you put that on public, then kind of everyone can find your avatar and clone. For example, in something like Psilic's avatar search world or something like that. And in your content manager, you see all the avatars and worlds you already made. And then you just click here, the informations provided are true, and click then on the button below. And then you already are able to upload. If there is no red error, you also can select different thumbnails or capture directly from the scene if you want. But before you want to set up something. Things that are important, maybe the scale. You could just right click here into the scene, 3D object cube. And then you know that you have here now a cube in the scene that you can. And this cube usually is about a meter. A meter by a meter by a meter. So you see how tall will you be, kinda. And that can help to know if you want to scale your avatar or not. Usual Rexoium is about 2 meters. I am not 2 meters tall in real life, so I just point 0.9. Everything here should be the same, because otherwise you will stretch and bend and weird, you know. It is X, Y, Z are the 3 axes of the 3D space. And if you change your avatar size, you should also check this view position here, edit. And then you see, when you don't see anything, click here on this ball in the upper right corner. It activates all the gizmos, everything on your avatar. This is very, very much, I know. But for now, just concentrate on the selected object with edit. This ball is where your camera will be, and it should be always between the eyes. Otherwise, it will be very weird behaving, and many problems are just a wrongly set view position. When we open this here, then you see much stuff happen in here. The armature is kind of the skeleton of your avatar. That's everything that bends and animates your avatar. The body is the mesh, so it is the object that contains the textures to show you. And it has the materials on it. A material contains everything that is needed to create the color, the informations about roughness, about surface structure. And usually you use something like Poyomi, because most of the beans these days use. For example, these muscles here are fake. It is not on the mesh. When I go into the body material, then I can turn off the details, and you will see that there is no texture for there is no detail for muscles. It is now just loading a bit because it's compiling the shader. Just the fur. The fur is baked into this normal map. Normal map is this, you can just say it is the surface structure. If you want to know it a bit more detailed, is kind of the direction the pixels are aligned to the surface. Yeah. And the details here contains another normal that is then the muscle definition, and you can change how much muscle definition you want. Something like the pants are not part of the Rexorium base. This is added later. Yeah, you see so many different things. And do you think that I know everything here? No, I don't. I can just say the thing you usually want to do with Poyomi, if you don't are an anime person that has kind of totally flat colors, then put lighting type to realistic instead of toon. So you will have the fur structure and everything. Madcap is a material, is kind of a fake reflection that is delivered onto your material to make stuff more shiny, more reflective than it should usually be. It's just for effect, just to fake certain effects. Yeah. For example, I like emission on those here, on these details, or on these dots, on the spade. This is totally up to you. Everyone likes different things on their body to glow. You have here this is one of the textures, you know. You see everything black. Black is kinda 0. Everything that is black on a texture is kinda there is nothing. And everything you could kinda mask everything white you want to glow, but why not just already put everything in here in the correct color? Because then you just need one map and one emission, and not one extra emission for every fancy thing on your avatar. Yeah. Something that also many people like is something like when you go into a person that you still see the person. What I did here, the rendering, cull off, means that the backside of your mesh kinder, what is the inside here, is not turned off. Because if this is usually, the backside is usually culled, it's gone, then you can't see it. And this is, in my opinion, when you collide with someone, weird when the person just disappears. If you would collide with a person in real life, you would see everything kind of goes black because your face is right on the other person. And I kind of fake it with that. Also, during the recent updates, we have something more here, like this back face. And there you can just use the color to black. And then the backface mods, detail intensity 0, global emission 0. Then the inside will be totally blackened. I know that there are more fancy tricks to make it really, really, really black and you see nothing. But this is something you just can achieve with a few clicks. I mean, I can tell you more. Something like AO is for ambient occlusion when there is no shadows. Then you have kind of painted shadows on you that will be erased when a light source will fall at you. Also, you have in the light data something very convenient like the min brightness. This was called base emission a few versions earlier. That means that in very dark areas, I have a dark character, black, dark, purple, and then you can't see me anymore. But when I put a kind of like a really low value here in the min brightness, that means just below that, it can't fall. I will always be a bit brighter than absolute black. And this is just a personal taste, you know? When you go on hunt maps or on games, then you don't want that. You may vanish in the shadows, but usually you don't. You could also animate this, you know? You can here animate when locked, right click, animate when locked, then you could animate this to get to 0 with a toggle. This is very much advanced, and I won't come to those things yet, but all this you can see here. You know, reflection specular is just what it says. It makes the surface more. You have here a map you can open, and you have a smoothness map. The roughness is kind of the invert of that. You can have a metallic map, what is usually just 1 or 0, because you have a metal or a non-metal. There is no, it's like someone is dead. Someone is alive or dead and not 50% dead or something like that, you know? So you can kind of tweak the reflectiveness. But usually you get these textures from your artist, or if you're good, you do it yourself, okay? But then you just drag and drop the texture maps in. And I don't know everything of that. I know, for example, that clear code means that when you have a reflective surface in a certain color, that there could be a thin layer of a translucent material on top of it that seems something like, with those tricks, you could, for example, make something like this here. You see that there's a second mesh on top of the eyeball to make it more reflective, to have like a lens on your eye. You could kind of save this mesh when you use clear code. You could do that. But yes, this is just, you know, you have so many tricks here. Rim light usually is used with the toon setup, so that you have on your rims of your avatar these black lines like in a cartoon or something like that. It's totally up to you how you want to look. Dissolve is an animated effect usually that lets clothing disappear. Anime avatars use that often. So I don't know everything on avatars. You know, here, blinking, for example, makes my emissions blink. You have in the special FX also something like, where is it? Sometimes I also have to use, to search. Glitter sparkle is something I, for example, use on the hair or my paw pads, yeah? So it's totally up to you. This shader has a ton of stuff. You can change the shader of a material very easily if you want simpler ones. For example, do I use one simple material? No. But you could use. You just click here and then, for example, type in standard. For something like eye lens, I would use standard specular setup, for example, to be more reflective there, yeah? So when you click on your avatar again, then you see all these things. It's not very important to understand everything, because you will learn, if you want, part by part more and more about all that stuff, yeah? So here, ear fluff, you see that this is an own mesh. You could just like, oop, now ear fluff gone, you know? It's just separated, and more fluff you could, toggle and get back, and everything has own materials and stuff. Yeah, mesh tail dynamics are usually physics. And when you see these little things here, this is how physics works. Here could be feathers. So you see that on the tail, you see it on the ears. That just means that there are bones, and every capsule around a bone is that this is physically affected when you move. And these little pale bluish cones mean that this is the angle in which these bones can be bent. And when you click, for example, ears dynamics, then you see it. Here you see what is ignored, so that it doesn't interfere when it shouldn't. And then it's just physics. The pull, the momentum, the stiffness, you could tweak until it's your way of jiggliness you want on your stuff, you know? The limits are these cones here. Maybe you don't want a limit, then you can just say none. But I like those angles, and you can change the 60 degree up to whoop, more or less. Then now it's very narrow, and that seems automatically more stiff because it's restrained so much, yeah, and stuff like that. Many things are just about tweaking. VRChat Fury is an add-on that makes some things quicker to set up. And yes, this kind of changes things that are set on your avatar on start. That is a non-destructive way of change things on your avatar, or if you're a lazy person, just it's more drag and drop, because many things just wants you to drag and drop a prefab on your avatar, and then it's already working because there's VRC Fury installed with a script that does things. What is a prefab? It is just this here. For example, this here is not a prefab, the hair, because you see everything is gray. If it's blue, then it is a prefab, and you see it here in the prefab. That just means it's like a package. That is a package that is not unpacked. So you could just change it. And if you change the package, then it would be changed for every single instance of something. It doesn't make very much sense on avatars. It makes more sense when you are a world creator. And when you have a pillar, for example, and the pillar is set 60 times in the world. Do you want to alter 60 pillars in your world when you say, oh, I will change the color? No. You want to alter it once, and then it should be for all. There are convenient things like materials. Usually when you change a material, then it will change for everything it is attached to. But if you change something on the mesh, the height, whatever, you use it, you just drag and drop it from the hierarchy down here into the project folder, for example, in a folder prefabs, and then you can just change the prefab, and that will work for everything else on the map then, kinder. And when we go down, here are just deactivated things that could be activated, and that is what I want to show you.